Hello and welcome to everybody who's joined us so far. We will be getting underway in just a few minutes' time to discuss our graduate certificate in information technology and strategic management, the ICT80115, a really exciting course and certainly a subject area which is very pertinent at the moment and of a lot of interest for organisations and employees, even those who are looking to start their business. Really looking forward to getting into this one. We'll have our Chief Executive and Academic Officer, Iona McKinney, joining us in just a few moments' time.
Hi, James.
Hello, Iona. How are you?
Pretty good. Is it just you and I?
Yeah. So we're just away at the moment. We've got a few people tuned in, and we are currently live on Facebook and broadcasting to our participants as well.
Wonderful. Then I will say hello to everybody as I make myself visible, and it's really great to be here. There we go. Hello, everyone. My apologies for being a couple of moments late in.
Not at all. I was just reaching out to everybody and letting them know how excited we are about this particular course. I know it's something that's very close to your academic heart, as it was, and really how pertinent IT and strategic management is these days.
Oh, look, I get very excited about this course. There's a few reasons why I get excited about this course. So it's probably one of our new flagship courses here at Mentor Education. And it takes all those wonderful things that we're thinking about at the moment, you know, and putting it into practice. So we get to do some great things. So I'm really looking forward to exploring it with everyone tonight.
Well, look, there's plenty for us to go through, so we'll get underway and let's talk a little bit about, I suppose, the course overview itself, what are, I suppose, some of the outcomes and how this course is different to a lot of the other ones that we offer, in that there are certain entry requirements and the fact that it is a graduate certificate. What does that mean? And how is that a little bate different to, say, a certificate for it or a diploma? So with those questions in mind, I'm going to hand on over to you, Iona.
Okay, so as it says here on the slide that we've got up, the graduate certificate in, I'll just shorten it, in IT and strategic management, otherwise it's always a big mouthful. It's all about individuals developing their skills and knowledge to undertake business analysis, for example, implement new technologies in business, embedding sustainability in our practice, and sustainability and social responsibility is a very, very big theme, and it's a core theme along with ethical business throughout the course. So students that complete the course are awarded with a graduate certificate in IT and strategic management. For entry into the course, there is a few things that students need to consider if they're going to make an application for entry. So there's 3 basic ways that students can actually enter the course, and they don't necessarily have to have completed an undergraduate degree, but so I'll just talk to those. So they need to have completed a bachelor degree in a related field of study, and that would be business, commerce, finance, IT, applied sciences, any type of undergraduate qualification that may have actually had an IT component in it or an integration and innovation unit. An applicant might have completed an advanced diploma or a diploma level qualification in, say, IT, business, leadership and management, advanced diploma in management, business, financial services. But if they've completed a diploma or an advanced diploma, they really should have 2 years full-time relevant workplace experience. The other entry pathway for this course is work experience itself. We know that there's a number of people out there that have worked in leadership and management positions, in IT management positions, as database developers, innovation officers, worked in manufacturing industry, for example, where they've implemented new systems and processes. And those people are also eligible for entry into this course, but they need to demonstrate 3 years equivalent full-time workplace experience. So that 3 years also might have come about over the last 5 years, where they've actually moved through a couple of roles and they've actually developed that work experience over time. So we're happy to look at people that have developed experience or work experience over time and actually take that as a cumulative total for the workplace experience.
Okay, great. Now, with the workplace experience, or even, I suppose, the previous qualifications, I mean, you've touched on it a little bit. Does it have to be exclusively IT? I mean, would I have had to have experience in development or database management, as you said, or could I come perhaps from more of a business discipline?
You might come from a business discipline. You might come from a project management discipline, such as I did into the course originally. And they're all types of roles where you integrate new processes or you adopt or implement some type of innovative approach, where you come across a range of things. And you might have worked as a strategic planner, for example, or in a strategic officer's role or a strategic manager's role. There's a number of roles. This is an applied course. So it means that it is not purely IT. It's about developing a technological approach to something and actually strategically implementing that in the workplace. So the course itself is actually quite broad. So really, it's all about being able to think in a way that you can develop a concept, and having had some practice at working with conceptual implementation throughout your working life. So, excuse me, as you can see here, where James has just put the units up, it facilitate business analysis takes us through a process where we look at the business and we analyse whether this new technology or whether this new way of working or a new idea, and there could be a range of things. It could be a network solution. It could be an app for a business, which we actually do in part of the course, is we actually wireframe a mobile app as an exercise. And about how to actually establish whether that is suitable for the type of business it is. And is there a market for it? Or is there an internal market or an external market, or both? The electives, I spoke before about integrating sustainability in planning and design projects. Embedding sustainability in our practice is something that we should actually all be considering at any time. But what does sustainability really mean, and what is social responsibility? So we actually take the approach in the course where we look at what we're doing from a responsible innovation perspective. And it's not just responsibility to the environment, but it's also responsibility to the organisation itself, to the users, to the end users, to the consumer. And so we look at sustainability from a number of different aspects. And it's not just about recycling plastics. It's actually about energy management, and it's about efficiency as far as users are concerned. So there's a whole range of things that we look at in sustainability. In business plan components for a new initiative, if we've looked at the business and we've analysed, this idea that we've had to integrate this new technology, we've looked at what sustainable practices we could support and how to actually undertake implementing this technology in a responsible way, or a new idea, an innovative thing. Then we need to look at how we actually do that, and we need to look at our business planning. And of course, direct research and business responses. So one of the things that we need to do before we do all of these things is we need to go out and we need to research it. We need to build a business case. We need to do a feasibility study and find out exactly what the benefit of making this change is, or creating this new product. excuse me. So we actually undertake all of that in a holistic way throughout the course.
Excellent. Yeah, and look, certainly reading through those units there, I mean, it really kind of takes us through that process of analysing a business, identifying a problem, or even not even so much a problem, but where there's areas for opportunities, coming up with those potential solutions, justifying what they are, and then bringing it together and obviously deciding the best way and why they should be implemented. Now, I understand all of this is actually pulled together in what we describe as a capstone assessment. Is that right?
So what we actually do is there's 4 main assessments throughout the course, where students develop their concept, create a business use case, create a project scope and project plan for their project. And I'll come back to projects in a moment and how some students actually identify what they're going to do as their major project for the course. And then we look at responsible implementation and sustaining our initiative out there, and we actually incorporate that into our business planning. And there's a research assignment and a feasibility study as well that students undertake. Now that's across the units in no particular order. There's also a range of the usual assessment methods, so some short answer questions and a few quizzes and things like that. But most of it is actually, all of the assessments are actually linked to a major project. So the idea is that the student starts with a concept, and it may be their own concept, or they may choose to utilise the mobile app exercise, the development of the mobile app, which is provided as a self-directed learning activity. And they develop the concept all the way through to the final business planning for implementation of their chosen project. We have a number of students in the course who are already employed, and they're employed in a variety of different roles. And so some of those students actually choose a workplace project. And so as they're studying the course, they're also working on their workplace project. So the two things actually come together in a really nice way. And excuse me. So we've got those 2 alternatives as far as the major project is concerned.
Excellent. Okay, so let's have a look a little bit, I suppose, a look into the industry itself, and I suppose some of the potential roles that it can apply to. I mean, what's really interesting, and we did a bit of research on seek.com.au, which most people will know is Australia's biggest jobs search site, but IT managers. Now, of course, the role doesn't apply exclusively to IT managers, as we've identified. There's a whole range of roles, but as a really kind of, I think, simple and central example, we can see that certainly over the next 5 years, it's expected to grow, certainly positions in that area, by about 1.2%, and see an average salary of around about $110,000 per annum, which I think really is testament to the sort of demand for specialisation and skills in this area, certainly now, but well into the future as well. Another interesting area which we looked at, certainly with respect to the research and the application of this course, was the Australian Government Job Outlook. And it shows that roles for IT managers will have a stable future growth. So, I mean, if there was ever a reason, to dedicate some time and effort into acquiring skills in this area, and I think future-proofing is certainly something which we look at a lot, then this is certainly one area to look at. Iona, talk to us about some of these potential roles and how they might apply to this particular course.
Oh, look, I can actually expand on some of these roles, and I'll add a few more in. And this is actually just against our current cohort of students. So currently we've got 2 business analysts who are enrolled in the course. We've got a finance manager from a financial planning organisation and a banking organisation. We actually have a project manager from a telco who has to remain nameless. And they're all doing this course because it provides them with that applied experience to develop a concept and then apply the concept and then, of course, implement it. But information systems manager, infotech directors, CIOs or chief information officers, chief digital officers. I actually know one chief digital officer who completed the course and found the course to be incredibly useful as far as his day-to-day work practice. For information technology managers and service delivery managers, again, because the course is about implementing a new concept, and it's actually about the process of that implementation and the analysis of the business, and then matching the two things together and harmonizing outcomes. We tend to find that there's a really wide range of people in a wide range of positions that actually find this course to be a benefit. The job outlook is incredibly strong. If we were to look at the job outlook for a business analyst, for any type of digital officer, for infotech directors, we'd find that it would range from roughly 1.2, the growth would range from 1.2% to around about 5% over the next 5 years. And the salary range would be roughly, if I'm to add those other ones in, would be roughly 85 to 120K per annum. So there are benefits, there's always a benefit, and we like to see that flow on benefit happen in our back pocket. And we know that this course is well recognised and well respected out there, and that completing it for people is really becoming quite a benefit for them.
And I think talking to the benefits of the course, but almost look, I think the integrity of it, such that a graduate certificate, and correct me if I'm wrong, Iona, but that usually represents the first year of what is a master's degree.
Certainly does. Most master's degrees. I'll just start again, because that was a simply said complex question, Mr. Lynch. But I'll just come back for everybody. So the course is delivered as what is known as ICT80115, which is a level 8 course under the Australian qualifications framework. It's a nationally recognised and accredited course. So there are benefits at studying at this level and entering at this level. So commonly, master's degrees are also delivered at AQF8 or AQF, Australian Qualifications Framework Level 8. So master's degrees vary in their time and their frameworks and their syllabus. So commonly a master's degree has 12 or 16 units in it. So the graduate certificate in IT has 4 units in it. And excuse me. And so students are actually able to apply for recognition of the course and reduce the number of units and time taken to actually study the course. Now, there's a variety of pathways that are available to students, excuse me, in this course. So they may want to apply to a range of tertiary education providers to continue on to do a master's level course. They may continue on with us to do their graduate diploma in strategic leadership, which would mean that their master's course would be reduced by another 4 units down to 8 units. So there's a range of pathways from this course, and students are able to actually enter higher education at AQF8 level.
Okay, excellent. A little bit more complex than my summary of it, but look, there's certainly some benefits there as well. So we've not just got the academic sides, so the industry and job side, but we've also got those academic pathway sides as well, which again is a real benefit when you consider certainly the costs that can be attached to higher education, but also the time as well. And I think that's really important. I mean, we can always earn more money, but we can't always earn more time.
Well, there are some other benefits with this course as well. So students are able to actually apply to the Australian Institute of Project Management for entry as an associate to AIPM. And for those students that are actually out there looking to change their career or boost their career or move sideways, a career change basically, a membership with AIPM as an associate member is almost a or is a real advantage. A lot of employers actually recognise the graduate certificate, but they also recognise involvement in industry associations such as AIPM, and it's a very valuable thing for students to be able to go ahead and do.
Excellent. Well, look, let's do a bit of a dive into the actual course itself and talk about the learning material. What sort of stuff
my favourite topic.
To have access to and be exposed to?
Okay, sorry, James, I have a little bit of a lag on this end, so I apologise. Let me just go through the learning materials, and we can talk more about a bit of a deep dive into the actual course. So for the course itself, all textbooks are provided in the course, and there's 4 textbooks that are provided in the course, 1 for each unit. The self-directed learning activities, everything is provided to the students to be able to complete those, including templates that are pre-populated with examples for students. Excuse me. Students also experience the opportunity to participate in live online tutorials with myself, and that's where we actually take a deep dive into the topics, and we really drill down, so we experience deep learning about the range of concepts that are actually in this course. There's also self-directed activities such as research activities. There's audio podcasts, for example, in 2 of the units for students to actually listen to. We look at journal articles, and then there's also recorded webinars as well. So there's a range of materials that are available to students for their learning experience. One of the things that we do is we do some things like practicing managerial decision exercises. And problem solving. So we come up against an issue in certain scenarios, and we use a lot of case studies, and we actually look at the case study and we actually determine what the next step might be. So there's a range of things that we do, but all learning material is provided inside the LMS or the learning management system. So, and there's no additional cost to the student for either the tutorials in this course or for any of the learning materials.
Okay, great. And the way that they're delivered is through Mentor Education's online learning management system that you can really access from just about anywhere. Phone, obviously laptop or PC's certainly best, or tablet as well. What does the online learning management system look like for students, Iona?
So we're actually looking at it right now. And I think we can see the graduate certificate here on the left-hand side of my screen. Students actually enter the learning management system. It's organised like a book, if you like, with a table of contents, so you're able to move through your learning materials quite easily, almost like chapter for chapter reading a book. And of course your unit information is provided on beside that. The other thing that is a bit different in our learning management system, which really makes it distinct from a number of others, is that we're actually able to link to external websites. So students are able to actually work inside the learning management system and undertake as much of their study as possible without having to go in and out of the actual learning management system. Excuse me. And all textbooks, of course, are available from within the learning management system. The other thing is that all of the materials throughout the course are downloadable and printable from the learning management system. So say a student is traveling and they want to be able to take their learning with them and to be able to read their texts and do that on a tablet, for example. So they're able to download the text and actually use their tablet as an e-reader, if you like. So there's some true benefits to actually learning in this type of environment where everything is under your fingers and everything is just at where we tap. So it provides a holistic learning experience rather than a fractured learning experience where you've got to go out of the learning management system, into the library system, back into the learning management system to check where you were. Go and do that bit of research, write this here, make notes there. You're actually able to do all of that inside the learning management system, unless it's a specific self-directed learning activity that you're required to actually maybe update a template or create some type of document that you would utilize anyway.
Okay, great. And look, getting on to a slide which all students, certainly prospective students, are interested in, and we've really kind of touched on this already, but the assessments.
I know everybody always wants to know what the assessments are. Okay, so 3 things in this course. Except for short answer questions at 4 stages during the course or in the 4 assessments. We don't repeat any assessment task. So there is a research project, a feasibility study, business use, as is in 2B diagrams, flow charts. There's a couple of presentations where we ask students to create presentations, for example, about implementing new technology. There's also the project tasks themselves where we're actually developing an application, or we're looking at embedding sustainability. So we're updating the business use case to embed sustainability. There is some multiple choice questions and some short answer questions, but embedded in every unit of self-directed learning activities. And they range from case study responses to decision-making exercises to a bit of problem solving to case studies, concept questions. And throughout the course, all of those case studies, simulation scenarios, problem solving, everything else is actually geared against a real business case. So, and it's considered to be a simulation. So you're actually able to work with an existing business. So what's some examples of some of the case studies? We have Google, we've got Disney, we've got, who else have we got in there? There's a couple of large manufacturing firms. So there's a breadth of experiences that students can actually work through as well.
Yeah, look, it certainly sounds like there's that real world application as well. So jumping from what is, I suppose, a learning experience and a learning exercise into the real world and making it applicable to what it is that you're doing, assuming, of course, you're working at the time, isn't a big jump at all. I mean, it really does make it a hands-on sort of a process.
Feedback I am getting from students is that they're able to take what they're doing in this course out into the workplace and apply it in the workplace and really use it. And that actually tells us that the course is working for the students. So, and that's always important. Yeah, no assessment should ever be too hard to complete. It should always be an experience where we're able to demonstrate what we've learned and feel confident about that. And at Mentor Education, that is the philosophy that underpins all of our assessment at every level, with all of the courses that we deliver. So it's not about tricky, hard questions. It's actually about real things. And I think we've got this world of work that's changing, and we need to be comfortable when we go out in the workplace and feel confident that we've actually developed some of those skills and abilities to actually take our learning and apply it in our workplaces. And we know that the world of work's changing, and we know that as workplaces change, and we've got this crazy world at the moment that's affected by all sorts of things. And so we rely more and more on technology, for example, to actually utilize that technology in intelligent ways and apply that in effective ways. We need to be able to make judgments, and we need to be able to assess that technology and that level of judgment that we would use. So we need to be able to analyze what we're doing. And so those principles are also embedded throughout this course, where we're constantly looking, we're analysing what we're doing, and we're constantly developing it. So personally, I believe the course is achieving good things. And as I said before, assessment should be about showing us that you can take your concept, and that what we've introduced to you enables you to do that in the workplace.
Excellent. And then the course itself, I mean, so we've got over here 345 hours, which is delivered over a 6-month period. Okay, now that's for the 4 units. Now, can they be done at the same time, or are they done one after the other? How does that work with respect to the duration?
Okay, so the reason we say it's over a 6-month period is because on average it takes students around about 4 to 6 weeks to work through the requirements of each unit and complete their assessment. So putting a term break in there as well, we get a 6-month period. And of course, you know, people have lives, things happen. We might end up working more hours than we thought. We might end up having, you know, we might be taking holidays, and we decide to do some extra time on the course. So that 6-month period can vary depending on the amount of time that a student actually undertakes to do their study. But the course itself is a sequenced course. So it's important that we start at the first unit and work through, because the capstone assessment, of course, is the business analysis and presentation of the actual business plan for the concept. So having said that, students have access to all of the units, and we do suggest that they review the units ahead of what they're doing, so they can actually experience the linkages. But it should be studied in sequence. So we allow a 6-month period for students to complete the course. For students that don't complete the course in that 6-month period, it can always be extended. There's up to 18 months allowable for any student to be able to complete a graduate certificate, which is referred to as the volume of learning, and we're more than happy to make that available for any student that needs it.
So there really is that flexibility there, because, I mean, look, as you said, life happens. So it really is just a matter of squeezing it in around anything and everything else that's going on. So
most definitely. And everyone has a life, and we expect that too. Yeah.
Excellent. Now, student support, of course, students have access to email and phone support with the dedicated trainers who work in this particular field. Of course, they are subject matter experts, and of course, you're one of them. One thing that we haven't really touched on tonight is the tutorials. Now, of course, students have the phone and email support. That's an absolute given. But let's briefly talk about the virtual tutorials. Now, they're not pre-recorded. They're live. They're face-to-face. It's with a cohort.
Most definitely, James. It's the online live tutorials happen with every unit. On average, they're between 1.5 hours and 2 hours in duration. Students have the pleasure, if you like, of spending that tutorial time with me, exploring the units. They take the form of a formal lecture and Q&A, as well as a bit of group work in each tutorial. So it is actually a true tutorial session. The tutorials are scheduled once every 3 weeks, and so most students will actually cycle through the live tutorials at least twice during the duration of their course. And students have an opportunity to actually interact as they would in a classroom with the other students that are actually studying in their cohort. And because of the diversity, if you like, of locations from where our students are located, they could be students in Australia, students in the UK, students in the US. So students have the opportunity to, if you like, build their own network while they're studying, or start to develop a network of other professionals while they're studying. And in 2 of the units in particular, we also have guest speakers that talk to specific topics such as business analysis. And the guest speakers are also available during the session for students to deep dive into subjects with them that they normally wouldn't get to experience with just a recorded webinar as part of a course.
Okay, great. And look, probably something else that I should mention, we talked a lot about them being live, but if students do want to have access to previous recordings of the, I suppose, tutorials that have already happened, they of course can access that as well, can't they?
Oh, most definitely. So for all tutorials, students receive a copy of the tutorial presentation, and they also have access to the recordings from the tutorials, the same as they would with any other higher education course. Okay,
great. Now, look, what I've got up in front of us now is just a few frequently asked questions that often come in from students. So if you do have any questions, and look, I may have jumped the gun a little bit here and preempted, so I'll go through these for you. The first one is about government funding. So the answer to that, in short, really is no. But what we do have is payment plans and options available for students. So the course is priced really, really well. So it's just under $2,400 at the moment, and that includes access to the course, the live tutorials. That, of course, includes textbooks, assessments, absolutely no more to pay. Okay, so there's certainly options there available. Another one which often comes up is, when can I start? And students can start just about, really straight away, can't they? So if they get their enrolment form in, say, in the morning, there's a good chance they'll have access by the afternoon. And certainly if they get it in over the weekend, they'll have access to the course by some point on Monday.
Most definitely. Keeping in mind, entry into the course, if we're talking about when you can start, does actually depend on the entry requirements for the course. So we'd suggest that students actually, when they make their initial inquiry, share with us their CV or their resume, so we can verify their work experience.
Excellent. Now, we've got multiple study options, of course. So we've got 100% self-directed learning, which doesn't include the tutorials, but then we've got the option which does. So, and really, the tutorials is just absolutely the way to go, isn't it?
So I'm just going to jump in there, James. So in this course, the tutorials are made available to all entrants to the course. And we made that change because the feedback from our students, and that's only a recent change, and we've made that change because feedback from students was that they believed that they were much better placed to experience a number of things within the course with the additional support of the tutorials. So tutorials are now included in the price of the course. Okay, great.
Of course, it is nationally recognised, so all around the country. The prerequisites we've really dived into. So just quickly, if we can just quickly go through those again.
Okay, so the prerequisites for the course, just very quickly, are an undergraduate degree or a diploma, an advanced diploma with 3 years work experience, or 2 years work experience or 3 years work experience with no qualification but verifiable work experience at the right level.
Okay, great. And then the duration, which we certainly covered, look, students are sort of up to 6 months on average, but if they do need to take that extra time, it's around about 18 months.
Yes, that's right.
Excellent.
So 6 to 18 months, depending on the individual, because we do understand that people have lives and things happen.
Very good. Now, look, we've just got one question that's come in, and that was just about pathways, and then what sort of options are available to students once they complete the graduate certificate?
So students obviously are able to apply for or utilise the graduate certificate to apply for entry into master's levels programs. there are a number of options available to students as far as pathways are concerned. So here at Mentor, we have a number of articulation agreements with the University of Notre Dame, for example, for our business students and finance and accounting students. There's also the pathways with Duseja Global College, which takes students into a 12-unit master's degree with the University of Wales. And there's a number of other great courses that all have their basis in innovation and business or business development and commerce, for example. And those additional pathway options are available on Mentor's website, aren't they, James?
Yeah, look, they certainly are. And if people would like more information on that, just certainly feel free to contact me direct or head on over to the website and leave an inquiry there. So now, look, if there's no more questions, that brings us to the end of tonight's presentation. But really, it is an exciting area. There really is going to be a lot of demand, and it's a course that we're very excited about delivering. And before we close off, Ina, is there any closing remarks that you'd like to make?
From myself, the course itself provides students with a lot of opportunities, not just in terms of learning, but in terms of opportunities for employment and opportunities for pathways. One of the great things about this course is that it is real and it contains a lot of workplace tasks that we would undertake in any type of analysis or concept development role. And students are able to leave the course confident that the course they've done will actually support them to do what they want to do. So I guess that would that's my encouragement to anyone that's listening, is that our graduates are experiencing those things now. And I'd just like to invite everybody to come and enroll in the course and experience the same thing.
Excellent, thank you very much. Well, again, that brings us to the end of today's student information session. So if you'd like more information, head on over to the website, which is mentor.edu.au. Leave your information there and we'll arrange, certainly for myself or one of our course consultants, to get in contact with you and provide you with some more information. Until next time, thanks again, and we look forward to speaking with you again soon.
Thanks, James.